When the gaze turns to static, how the narcissist's speech patterns collapse our reality. At first, the narcissist's voice is disarming. It draws you in, not through tenderness, but through precision. Each sentence is part of a scan, each silence is calibrated. You're not being spoken to, you're being measured through. That is what Professor Sam Vaknin taught me to recognize as cold empathy. The narcissist's uncanny ability to read your affective state without ever entering it. And when that speech begins to loop, when its contradictions mount and its patterns distort, the survivor's mind begins to split. We don't notice the moment it starts, but we feel it. Confabulation, the birth of internal gaslighting. In the narcissist world, language isn't used to communicate reality, it's used to construct it. Vaknin named it confabulation. The narcissist doesn't lie in the traditional sense. They speak to maintain coherence of their own false self, their narrative, their fantasy. Reality is not referenced, it is overwritten. But here's the deeper issue: we mirror it. As the survivor absorbs the narcissist's language patterns, the double binds, the vague explanations, the circular references, we begin to echo them internally. This is where MPIT identifies the psychic hijack, not just the creation of doubt, but the installation of dialectical bias. A voice in your own head begins to speak like them. What started as their confabulation becomes our inner equivocation. We call it gaslighting, but it's deeper than that. It is an internal symbolic displacement, and it gets worse. The gaze, hypocathexis, and the withering of meaning. Initially, the narcissist pours libidinal energy into the survivor, a process Facklin described as cathexis, later amplified into hypercathexis. This is the idealization phase, supercharged. But as the fantasy comes routine, the narcissist's investment in the object, you, begins to wane. And that's when we enter hypocathexis, the psychic pullback. Their words change, attention phase. The gaze becomes cold, erratic, or absent altogether. But the speech remains. That's what makes it so dangerous. It becomes circular, counterfactual, and entraining. The survivor clings to remaining symbolic cues for regulation, but these cues are now meaningless. Devaluation, a worsening storm. MPIT frames the devaluation cycle not just as abuse, but as energetic erosion. The symbolic withdrawal of cathexis is paired with increasing frequency and intensity of contradictions. The narcissist may begin to disappear for longer periods without explanation, offer increasingly implausible justifications, flip emotional stances within a single conversation, retreat into silence, and then return with blame. These aren't quirks, they are speech based tools of disintegration. With every rhetorical switch, the survivor's grip on reality loosens. And then comes the final blow: decathexis, CIPR, and the cold cut. When the narcissist finds new supply, often secretly, the energetic shift becomes total. The survivor doesn't know it yet, but their presence is now being used as a comparison tool. Their words are evaluated in contrast to someone else's fantasy. Time, presence, and speech becomes calculated shortages. You're talking to them, but they are no longer talking to you. They are rehearsing with you. Then, in one brutal moment, the gaze retracts entirely. Empit names this fracture point decathexis, the total energetic severing of the object tie. It is here that we fall into CIPR, collapse induced psychotic regression. This is not an exaggeration. It is not dramatic language. It's what happens when the entire symbolic architecture of your world collapses. when the narcissist walks away as though nothing happened. Sometimes they hoover, cruelly reactivating the fantasy only to destroy it again. Sometimes they cut you off entirely. Either way, the process was already finished long before they told you. You were erased. Speech as the seat of unreality. What remains is not silence, but a loop, a self gaslighting process powered by the very speech patterns we were trained to accept as real. In MPIT, we name this IMRA, inversed, mirrored, reflexive apathy. The narcissist appears present, but they are gone. Their words are there, but their meaning has died. And inside us, the speech continues. We replay conversations, we rationalize, we make excuses, we speak on their behalf, not realizing that our symbolic system has been overwritten by theirs. This is not miscommunication, it's collapse. The narcissist speech patterns aren't communication errors, they are engines of collapse. They generate loops that turn inward. They install voices that replay your own. And when the gaze, the speech, and the energy all withdraw, what's left is not heartbreak. It is reflexive, mirrored psychic inversion. Recognition is the only way out. But you can't recognize what you still believe is real. Peace out. Loads of love.